Good day, colleagues. I'm Jason Schilling, president of the ATA. First, let me start from a place of gratitude and thank you for the work you do, for the dedication you show your students, your colleagues, and your schools. Public education is the cornerstone of society. It is through education that we empower our students, ignite creativity, and foster critical thinking. That is the ideal. However, we live in the real world and cannot ignore that there are growing divisions in our society and schools, where misinformation, mistrust, and mistruths are sowing a discord which threatens to divide us. Alberta is currently the least funded school jurisdiction in all of Canada. This underfunding is not just a statistic, it's a crisis that affects every student, teacher, and administrator. Currently, we have overcrowded classrooms that lack necessary resources that teachers require to meet their students' needs. Hastily implemented curriculum without resources, mental health, and aggression are all issues we face in our classrooms. And this is something I do not need to tell you. You live it every day. We become teachers because we want to make a difference. When I first became a teacher, I believed I was going to change the world, as cliche as it may sound. And it's the truth, and it still is. Teaching is a profession that is surrounded by energy and hope, but it can also be challenging and difficult. Too many colleagues are choosing to leave the profession, and that is heartbreaking. My goal as your president has always been to champion every substitute teacher, classroom teacher, and school leader in the province, represent our values to the public, and improve the capacity of the ATA into an even stronger, more resilient association valued by all its members. And yes, we've had setbacks and challenges. No one and no thing is perfect. But we cannot lose focus on what we believe, on how we want to make a positive difference in education. A former colleague once told me, if serving is beneath you, then leadership is beyond you. And I've never taken the trust you've put in me as your president for granted. This is serious work that I respect because I know I'm responsible for representing a profession I admire deeply. Given all this, what's next? Our goals and policy are clear. We must keep focused on what we want to see as improvements to our own working conditions and our students' learning conditions. We lean into these challenges because I believe we come from a place of power. Woven through all the pressures we've been facing in education is the shameful lack of funding in our schools. The ATA's Lease campaign has been a tremendous success. We must build on this success and keep the pressure on about how public funding should go to public schools and not towards private education. Along with this, the ATA needs to raise greater public awareness on the lack of funding around inclusion. Inclusion without funding is abandonment. We see the pressures of neglect growing every day. We need to expand our partnerships with those who also have a stake in public education. The ATA must continue to engage and strengthen our relationships with our members, as we still need to address classroom conditions and wages even after this round of bargaining. Regardless of the outcome of a deal at Central Table, we need to be thinking strategically about what comes next. As the curriculum for grades 7 to 9 are developed and implemented, we need to keep the pressure on to have more teachers involved in the process. Our students deserve a modern, diverse, and resourced curriculum. Along with that, we must continue to be vocal in our opposition to the ever-expanding use of standardized testing. The government's plans to expedite teaching credentials in Alberta is a significant threat we must face. This will dramatically undermine our profession and the quality of education. And this band-aid approach by government to address teaching recruitment and retention issues is intensely short-sighted, and we must oppose it loudly. The list of issues is exhausting, I know. However, I believe each issue we face presents an opportunity for us to show solidarity, determination, and commitment. Each opportunity allows us to enhance our relationships with each other, parents, and the community. We must remain strategically focused on our goals and not let others divide and weaken us. It's a common ploy by others to try to pit us against each other, and we won't fall for it. We're smarter than that. I've always spoken from my heart. My experience as a teacher and president guides my work. My experience for the last 3 terms as your president will help lead us forward as we navigate the tricky waters of the next few years. Colleagues, together we are stronger. United, we can boldly tackle challenges and shape the future of education in Alberta, and your voice and dedication matter. Let us build bridges of trust and collaboration between parents, teachers, and other allies. Let us stand together and strengthen public education against the many challenges it faces. Let us inspire each other, support each other, and work together to create a brighter future for our students, ourselves, and public education. There is a lot of fight ahead of us, and I'm more than ready to lead this fight. But I can't do it alone. Stand with me, stand with your ATA, and together, let's make a positive difference. Thank you.